Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to a report by GG Press, global crude oil inventories are declining at an unprecedented rate, raising fears of a massive price spike within the next few weeks. Since the United States initiated attacks against Iran 4 months ago, the strategic Strait of Hormuz has remained effectively blockaded, trapping nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. Although massive drawdowns of existing oil stocks have temporarily cushioned the global economy against severe price shocks, international experts warn that this strategy is reaching its physical limits. The International Energy Agency, IEA, reported that global oil stocks fell by a record 246 million barrels across March and April. Furthermore, much of the remaining inventory is locked within essential operational infrastructure, leaving real usable buffer stocks at critically low levels. Major industry leaders, including executives from ExxonMobil and Chevron, have sounded alarms. They warn that as these buffer stocks deplete over the coming weeks, intense upward pressure will reflect directly in market prices. Some estimates suggest crude oil could surge to as high as $160 per barrel, presenting severe challenges for global energy markets and economic stability. According to GG Press, the U.S. Federal Reserve is exhibiting an increasingly hawkish stance following the release of a robust May jobs report. The U.S. Department of Labor's data showed that non-farm payrolls grew by 172,000, doubling market expectations. This surprisingly resilient labor market, combined with rising inflation concerns due to prolonged high crude oil prices driven by Middle East conflicts, has prompted a series of hawkish remarks from Fed officials. New Fed Chair Kevin Warsh, appointed by President Donald Trump, is scheduled to lead his first Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, meeting on June 16 and 17. With the recent inflation rate standing at 3.8%, well above the Fed's 2% target, premature rate cuts could overstimulate the economy and fuel inflation. Consequently, the Fed may freeze rate cut discussions. Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack pointed out that the Fed could even shift to raising interest rates if high oil prices persist, a sentiment echoed by other officials. President Trump expressed a desire for rate cuts, but stated he would leave the final decision to Warsh. According to a report by Sinjo One, the United States State Department has approved a potential foreign military sales transaction to South Korea for Joint Direct Attack munition, JDAM, tail kits, and related equipment, with an estimated value of $106 million. The package includes 708 KMUU 557 JDAM tail kits, 58 KMU 572 guidance kits, and technical support. The U.S. government stated this sale aims to enhance the defense capabilities of its Asian ally and ensure interoperability with U.S. forces. In addition, the U.S. has approved a potential $1.5 billion sale of 5 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters to New Zealand to bolster its defense capabilities, as New Zealand plans to significantly increase its military spending. Meanwhile, security dynamics in the Indo-Pacific are shifting as Japan and Indonesia have agreed to initiate talks regarding the potential export of Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force frigates to Indonesia. Japan has been actively expanding its defense partnerships in the region to counter growing security challenges. According to Al Jazeera, Russia's defense ministry reported that its air defenses shot down 376 Ukrainian drones overnight. The massive attack targeted 16 areas and regions, including St. Petersburg, Crimea, and the Azov and Black Seas. The strikes coincided with the final day of the three-day St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. Residents of Russia's second-largest city were advised to remain indoors, and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that Kyiv's long-range drone successfully targeted naval arsenals in Kronstadt and an oil depot in the Krasnodar region. Meanwhile, Russian drone and artillery attacks in Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia and Dnipropetrovsk regions resulted in casualties. On the diplomatic front, Zelensky recently proposed direct face-to-face peace talks with Vladimir Putin. However, speaking at the Economic Forum, the Russian president dismissed the appeal, stating there was no point in meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart at this time. Putin insisted that expert-level negotiations must first occur, highlighting the deep divide between the two sides as Moscow continues to demand keeping occupied territories, while Kyiv demands their complete return. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.